Hey guys, so this is a mirror off of a first generation Toyota Sequoia. These might be the same mirrors that are used on the Tundras, I don't know. But this one is a power mirror, so you can adjust the mirror position electronically. It's heated, and it's also power folding, so you can push a switch in the middle console and it would fold flat against the vehicle. The issue that I ran into several years ago was I turned my truck on and there was just a popping noise coming from this mirror. It wouldn't stop, it wouldn't fold in. It was folded out, luckily, but it wouldn't stop popping, making that popping noise until I turned the key off and pulled it out of the ignition. I got online, did some research, and I found that if you unplugged the switch in the center console, it would cut power to this mirror and the popping would stop. So I ran it like that for several years, but I wanted to try to figure out if I could see what was causing the issue. I thought maybe it was a limit switch that had gone bad or something. And looking around online, I couldn't find anything. I couldn't even find how to get this mirror assembly apart. So I decided to dive in and see if I could figure it out. Hopefully I wouldn't break anything. So here's what I found. To remove it from the vehicle, there are, up on your door, right by the tweeter speaker, there's a little cover that pops off, and then there's three 10mm nuts that will come off. There's a connector. You kind of got to reach down behind the door panel a little bit. You do not have to remove the door panel, but you just push this little thumb piece and release the connector, and the whole mirror just slides out. So once you've got it on a bench, you need to get it apart. Now the actual mirror glass is held onto a bracket, and the first time removing it is pretty scary because you're afraid you're going to break the glass. But what I did is I positioned it all the way up, and then using kind of a soft pry tool, plastic pry tool, I pried underneath, and what it is under here there is this white gooey stuff that kind of glues it down, but there's some little clips that snap over this white base. On the top you've got some hooks, so it'll hook in like this and then pivot down and snap into place. So really you're trying to overcome two snaps plus the white adhesive, and once you get that out, it will come out. There is, if you've got the heated mirrors, there is one connector that has to be unhooked for the heated mirrors. And then as far as getting the motor and stuff out, you start moving this, just pulling this little rubber seal out. It just kind of snapped into some clips, and it's around the wire here, and it's a pretty snug fit. Pull it down as far as you can, and then there's this little plastic clip that keeps the wire in this channel just so it doesn't get pinched. So you slide that little plastic clip out, and you can pull this wire out. Then you'll need a T25 Torx to remove these three screws here. And if you don't know what a T25 is, it is this little star. The T25 determines the size, and otherwise it's just this star bit. So once that's off, this slides off like that. You've got the wire that goes up through this base, and this base is what actually turns. Then you will need a Phillips screwdriver. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's one more screw behind this cover that slides out. So, and you might be able to just pull this cover out. If not, grab a little flat blade screwdriver and you can kind of get it in between there, and this cover just slides straight out this way. And then you've got one screw in the end. But once you get all those out, you can actually move this whole base assembly. And the whole thing comes out. And all this is, and it's kind of a pain, if you've got the tools to remove these little terminals out of this plug, and you can actually pull that plug out, pull these wires all the way out, that will make it a whole lot easier to work on. But I don't have those tools, so if you stick the arm into the mirror housing, you can get sufficient amount of wire slack to work with. But basically what this is inside here there's just a little tiny motor, and then there's a gear drive that's set up in here. This black cover, there's just 4 clips. There's 2 on this side, I broke one here, and there's 2 on the other side, and there's some really sticky adhesive, which I have removed most of, just because I'm not concerned with this motor going bad. It doesn't really matter to me at this point. But you slide that up, and if you look up in this cover, there's the 2 contacts that touch this electric motor when it's actually supposed to be powered. So on the top of this little motor panel there's 3 Phillips screws. I'll go ahead and pull those out. And now this black cover just slides up. The motor just pops down through the end, and then inside here, see if I can get this so things will stay out of the way. Inside here we've got this little worm gear. It's got a little shaft that fits onto the motor. Here is the green gear that was cracked and I glued back together, and then there's another worm gear there. And then there's a set 2 gears here that are stacked on top of one another, and then around this shaft you can see this plate that turns at the bottom. This is how it would normally rotate. And that gear meshes with the bigger gear around the shaft. So when I put all this back together, I noticed I was still having some wobbling. And I think it's because I didn't have it preloaded. So right now I just dropped that worm gear down in there, and I don't know if you can see this little bit of play that I've still got in there. And what I did is I made sure my hole under here was going to be right in the middle, and it's hard to do and still show you on camera, but you basically got to hold pressure down on this worm gear that goes across that the green gear's on, and then rotate the green gear so that it's loaded up and there's no slop in those gears. And once that's there, you can throw this guy back onto the bottom of the motor, reassemble it, and then it'll be tight. So I'm going to try to do that now. There, I got the worm gear on the bottom of that. And try to get that sticky, gooey, nasty mess. See if I can reposition things so I get a little bit of slack. And then before you completely reassemble, you just want to make sure that you don't have any slop. I've got just a little tiny knock, but it's not actually turning, so that's good. I'm fine with that. So, and I'm beginning to wonder if the reason that when I was trying to get it working before I snipped that green wire is I'm wondering if I didn't take out all that free play in the gears. I'm wondering if I had done that and reassembled it, if it would have worked. Oh well. Now I have no idea if super glue will actually hold this gear together or not, but you know, it was worth a shot. So there we go. I'm just going to reassemble. Opposite of disassembly. Alright, I got my top two clips in there. I got my wiring clipped in. And I'm just going to lower it down and push until I hear two snaps. Some of those were the movement motors clicking, because you can move it manually as needed. There we go. Wipe it up, clean it up, get all the nasty adhesive off. Clean your mirror, go bolt it back on. And now I don't have any movement, so that's a good thing. Guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, so you don't miss any other videos. We'll talk to you later.